Have you ever pondered the profound question, what is the purpose of life in the face of inevitable death? It's a query that has haunted the human consciousness since time immemorial, often stirring up feelings of fear and anxiety. Yet, it's also a question that has sparked countless philosophical debates. Throughout the ages, from the ancient sages to the modern thinkers, humanity has grappled with the concept of death. It's a topic that's been wrestled with in the quiet solitude of our own minds, as well as in the bustling forums of public discourse. Every epoch, every culture, has formulated its own response, its own philosophy. Some sought solace in the promise of an afterlife. Others found peace in the acceptance of death as a natural part of life's cycle. Now let us embark on a journey through time to explore these philosophies. In the dawn of civilization, death was venerated and revered. The ancient Egyptians held a profound respect for death, viewing it not as a cessation of life, but as a transition into a different state of existence. They believed in a life after death, a concept that was deeply ingrained in their culture. This belief shaped their rituals, their art, and even their architecture. Think of the grand pyramids, tombs built to guide the departed on their journey to the afterlife. In the realm of philosophical thought, the ancient Greeks also had their unique stance on death. They perceived death as an integral part of life, a cycle that was as natural as the changing of the seasons. For them, death was not a tragic end, but a necessary component of the human experience. Prominent among them were the Stoics, who embraced a philosophy of acceptance towards death. The Stoics, including figures like Seneca and Epictetus, argued that since death is inevitable, it should not be feared. Instead, they proposed that understanding and accepting the inevitability of death could free one from the fear of it, leading to a more fulfilled and tranquil life. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not death or pain that is to be dreaded, but the fear of pain or death." This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the Stoic view on death. They encouraged focusing on the things within our control and accepting those which are not, including death. The ancient perspectives on death, both in Egypt and Greece, reflect a deep understanding of humanity's transient nature. They encourage us to consider death not as an enemy to be feared, but as a natural part of our existence, an inevitable transition that we must all experience. As we move towards the Middle Ages, philosophies evolved, bringing new perspectives on death. As we journey through history, we'll see that our understanding and acceptance of death have been shaped by centuries of philosophical thought. So let's continue our exploration and delve into the views of the Middle Ages. Moving into the Middle Ages and Renaissance, death became a reminder of the fleeting nature of life. It was during these periods that the Christian view of death began to evolve and take shape. This view saw death not as an end, but rather a passage, a transition to eternal life. It was a concept that imbued death with a sense of hope and faith, offering solace to those grappling with the inevitable. This period also gave rise to the philosophy of memento mori, a Latin phrase that translates to "remember you must die." Far from being a morbid reminder, memento mori served as a tool for mindfulness. It was a call to live virtuously, to value every moment, and to appreciate the ephemeral beauty of existence. It was about cultivating a deep awareness of our mortality, to inspire us to lead meaningful lives. In the heart of the Renaissance, these philosophies were not designed to instill fear, but rather to encourage contemplation and acceptance. They underlined the importance of living a life of virtue, knowing that it is not the length of life, but the depth of life that truly matters. These views on death, steeped in religious faith and moral virtue, held sway for centuries. However, the wheel of time never stops turning. The Enlightenment era brought about a shift in thinking, ushering in modern philosophies. In our modern world, death is often seen as an adversary to be defeated. This perspective is not entirely surprising, given the advances in medicine and technology that have dramatically increased our average lifespans. However, this hasn't stopped philosophers from pondering the implications of our mortality. Existentialist philosophers, for instance, view death not as an enemy, but as a motivator to live authentically. They argue that the awareness of our mortality can inspire us to make the most of our limited time, to pursue our passions, and to live according to our values. Martin Heidegger, a German philosopher, considered death as an essential part of our existence. He believed that our anticipation of death could lead us to live more authentically, as it forces us to confront the fact that our existence is finite. It's this realization that prompts us to truly take hold of our lives and make them our own. Jean-Paul Sartre, a French philosopher, also shared this sentiment. Sartre suggested that our awareness of death creates a sense of urgency, pushing us to act and to define who we are through our actions. This existential angst, he argued, is not something to be feared, but rather a powerful motivator that can help us to live more fulfilling lives. On the other hand, the modern medical view often positions death as an opponent to fight. With advancements in medical technology, death has become something we believe we can delay or even defeat. This perspective, while it has undoubtedly saved many lives, can also lead to a denial of death, preventing us from fully accepting and understanding our mortality. Our journey through the philosophies of death has shown us that death is not something to fear, but rather a reality to accept. By embracing our mortality, we can find motivation to live authentically, to pursue our passions, and to define our lives through our actions. From ancient times to today, death has been a constant companion to life. We've journeyed through the ages, exploring how perspectives on death have evolved, from ancient philosophies to modern viewpoints. We've seen that accepting the inevitability of death can actually inspire us to live more fully, more authentically. It's a powerful motivator, pushing us towards success. As we confront our mortality, we're reminded to live each day with purpose and authenticity. After all, in the words of the ancient Stoics, death smiles at us all, but all a man can do is smile back.